David, I made mistakes. I didn't realize what I had. I still love you. Please, give me another chance. She tried them with tears. With a smile. With trembling sincerity. She practiced the tilt of her head, the softening of her voice. She had once known how to bend David's heart like clay. Why shouldn't it work again? And so, one crisp morning, dressed in her best dress, an old designer piece from her Michael days, Emily stepped into a gleaming high-rise building with the bold letters Miller's Garage corporate headquarters across the glass. The lobby buzzed with employees, polished floors reflecting the sunlight streaming through the tall windows. Emily walked to the front desk, her heels clicking with forced confidence. The young receptionist, all bright eyes and professionalism, looked up. "Good morning. Do you have an appointment?" Emily forced a smile, her tone dipped in sweetness. "I'm an old friend of David Miller. I was hoping to see him." The receptionist frowned slightly, then picked up the phone. After a brief conversation, she nodded. "Mr. Miller will see you. Office 501, top floor." Emily's heart raced as the elevator carried her upward. She adjusted her dress, checked her lipstick in the mirror, and whispered to herself, "This is it. Don't blow it. Dash dash dash." The doors opened with a soft chime, revealing a sleek office bathed in sunlight. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked the Dallas skyline. At the far end, standing tall in a tailored navy suit, was David. Emily froze. He looked so different. The man she had once mocked for his grease-stained hands and second-hand jeans now radiated authority and quiet power. He carried himself with a calm confidence she had never seen before. "Emily," he said, his voice even but cold. "It's been a long time." She stepped forward, her smile trembling. "David, you look incredible. I can't believe it's really you." His eyes narrowed slightly, but he gestured to a chair. "Have a seat." Emily sat, crossing her legs, trying to look elegant, desirable, like the woman he once adored. "I've missed you," she said softly. "I never stopped thinking about you." David leaned back in his chair, expression unreadable. "Is that so? Funny, you didn't seem to think much of me when you walked out." Her throat tightened. She hadn't expected him to be so blunt. "David, I was stupid. I let greed blind me. I thought money mattered more than love. I see now I was wrong." Her eyes glistened with rehearsed tears. "You were always the one for me." David chuckled. A low, humorless sound. "The one for you, Emily. You left me for another man. You told me I wasn't enough. Do you think I forgot that?" She reached across the desk, her fingers brushing the edge. "People make mistakes. But we had something special, David. Don't you remember our dreams? The house, the family we wanted." He stood slowly, walking to the window, his back to her. "I remember everything. I remember the night you left with your suitcase. I remember the way you looked at me like I was worthless. I remember the man waiting in the car outside." Emily's face flushed. "That's all in the past. I've changed. We both have. And now, maybe this is our second chance." David turned, his gaze sharp. "Second chance. Our last resort." She flinched, but pressed on. "David, please. I know I hurt you, but we can start over. I still love you. I want to be with you again." For a moment, silence filled the office. Emily's heart pounded, hope flickering in her chest. Then David walked back to his desk and pressed a button. The door opened, and the receptionist appeared. "Please show Ms. Miller out," David said firmly. Emily's eyes widened. "David, no, don't do this, please, I need you." She stood, her voice breaking into desperation. "I left because I was scared. I thought money would fix everything. But I see now, you were the only thing that mattered." David shook his head slowly. "No, Emily, you don't miss me. You miss the life you could have had. There's a difference." Her tears were real now, streaming down her cheeks. "David, I'll do anything. Just give me one more chance." He met her gaze one final time, his voice steady, resolute. "I already gave you my best years. You threw them away, and I've learned something since then. Sometimes the best revenge isn't anger. It's moving on. Goodbye, Emily." The receptionist gently touched her arm. Emily pulled away, sobbing, but the door closed behind her all the same. Dash dash dash. Outside, the Texas sun blazed bright, but Emily felt cold. She stumbled onto the sidewalk, her chest hollow, her dreams shattered. She had once traded love for wealth, and ended up with neither. Meanwhile, David returned to his desk, gazing out at the skyline. He didn't smile, didn't gloat. He simply exhaled, a quiet relief washing over him. David Miller sat hunched in the dim light of his apartment, a single bulb buzzing overhead. In his hands, the eviction notice crumpled under the pressure of his grip. The paper said, "Vacate within 14 days, but to David, it might as well have said, "You've failed." He had never imagined life could fall apart this way. Just 2 years earlier, he and Emily had been planning vacations, dreaming of starting a family. They weren't rich, but they had each other. Or so he thought. The day it ended was seared into his memory. Emily had come home in a tight red dress, heels clicking across the kitchen floor, her hair styled like she had stepped out of a fashion magazine. David, sweaty and tired from fixing a neighbor's car for extra cash, looked up with a smile. "You look beautiful," he said softly. She didn't even acknowledge it. Instead, she dropped a stack of papers on the table with a cold thud. "What's this?" he asked, confused. "Divorce papers," she replied, her voice sharp. "I'm done, David. I can't live like this anymore." His chest tightened. "Emily, what do you mean?" "We're struggling, yes, but I'm working on it. Things will get better." Her laugh was cruel, empty. "Better? You're a broke mechanic working odd jobs. Look at this place. We can barely pay rent. I didn't marry you to waste my best years in poverty. I want more. I deserve more." David felt like the ground opened beneath him. "Is there someone else?" he whispered. She hesitated, then shrugged, as if it didn't matter anymore. "Michael gives me the life I want. He knows how to take care of a woman. You don't. Not anymore." David glanced out the window just in time to see a sleek black BMW parked at the curb. Behind the wheel sat a man in a tailored suit, watching them with smug impatience. Emily grabbed her suitcase, her diamond earrings glittering in the dim kitchen light. "Sign the papers, David. Don't make this harder than it has to be." And with that, she walked out of his life. The months after were brutal. David lost everything that gave him stability. The apartment emptied of warmth, his fridge half-stocked with cheap meals, his bank account drained after lawyers and settlement fees. Emily had taken the car, most of the furniture, and what little savings they had. He picked up night shifts at a gas station, fixing cars on the side whenever he could. His hands were always dirty, his back always sore. Nights stretched long and silent. Sometimes he found himself staring at the ceiling, wondering how it had all gone so wrong. Yet through it all, one thought kept him alive: "I won't let her break me." Then came the ticket. It was late October, a cold wind sweeping across the cracked sidewalks of his neighborhood. David walked into the corner store with his last $20, just enough for bread, milk, and some canned food. But as he waited at the counter, the glowing sign above the cashier caught his eye. Mega Millions jackpot. $70 million. On impulse, he slid a $10 bill across the counter. "One ticket." The clerk smirked. "Hey, maybe you'll get lucky." David chuckled bitterly. "Not my style." The ticket went into his pocket, forgotten until the next morning. When he checked the newspaper against the numbers, his hands began to shake. One number after another matched perfectly. His knees buckled. He stared again and again, until tears blurred his vision. It was real. He had just won $70 million. Life changed overnight, though David handled it with quiet caution. He hired a lawyer, claimed the prize anonymously, and relocated to Texas. For months, he lived quietly in a modest house, resisting the urge to splurge on luxuries. Instead, he poured his energy into a dream he had long carried in his heart: his own auto shop. Miller's Garage started as a single location with state-of-the-art equipment. David hired good people, treated them fairly, and reinvested profits. Within a year, it expanded into a chain across Texas, earning both respect and fortune. But even as his bank account grew, so did the walls around his heart. Betrayal had left scars. He didn't date. He didn't show off his wealth. To most of the world, David Miller was just another hardworking businessman. Only a handful knew he was a lottery winner. Meanwhile, Emily's fairy tale crumbled. Michael, the wealthy banker she had left David for, proved charming only when the money was flowing. When a series of bad investments crushed his portfolio, his attitude soured. He drank more, snapped at Emily, and eventually, walked out, straight into the arms of a younger woman with deeper pockets. Emily was left with nothing. The designer dresses, the dinners at rooftop restaurants, the vacations, all gone. She moved into a cramped apartment and took a receptionist job at a law office, her once glamorous life reduced to endless bills and cheap bottles of wine. Every night, she scrolled through her phone, haunted by memories of David. She remembered the way he used to fix her car in the driveway, his hands stained with grease but his eyes full of love. She remembered the nights they dreamed about a future together, when he promised her that someday they'd have a house with a backyard. One evening, as she scrolled the news, a headline made her breath catch. Miller's garage expands across Texas, founder David Miller becomes multi-millionaire success story. Her hands shook as she clicked. The article detailed how David, once a struggling mechanic, had turned his luck around after winning the lottery. There was even a picture of him in a tailored suit, smiling confidently outside one of his shops. Emily dropped her phone onto the couch, her chest heaving. David, my David, the man she had once called poor, useless, a failure, was now everything she had ever wanted. And she had thrown him away. Her pulse raced with a dangerous mix of regret and desire. She whispered to herself, almost like a vow,